First of all, thank you for this interview, Mr. Ambassador. Let me start with the geopolitical developments in Mediterranean Sea area. Does Britain concern about the latest developments and the instability of the situation here?
Of course, we follow the situation here very closely. This is a very important region of the world, the Eastern Mediterranean. We're concerned by any developments that lead to an increase in tension, and we use all our diplomatic contacts and channels to stay in touch with the different governments in the region and encourage de-escalation and reduction of tensions.
Truth is that a lot of countries, European countries, are saying that the escalation is coming from Turkey, and Turkey is moving on with some steps that are very dangerous in this area. There is a big discussion in the European Union how Britain stands over this situation, and what can you assure the Cypriot people about the position of Britain?
So, I mean, we have always been very clear on the developments in the seas around Cyprus and around Turkey's drilling activities, and we've always been very clear that we are opposed to that, and we need that to stop, and we need to find a way to de-escalate tensions and move forward. These are issues that we raise in our own diplomatic engagements with Turkey, as we do with Greece, with Cyprus. I think it's really important that we find ways to reduce tensions, and of course we have to deal with the immediate problems, such as the issues of drilling. In the end, I think what we really need to do is to find a way to get the Cyprus settlement discussions restarted.
Do you feel it's fair that Cypriot people are saying that it's not enough from countries like Britain, that we have so close ties, to just say that they fully recognize the sovereign right of Republic of Cyprus to move on with drillings and hydrocarbons issues? Is it enough just saying that we fully recognize the sovereign right? Because there is a fact, there is a third country which is using policies that are against the international law. When we talk about international law, we have to have a blind position and saying the truth, isn't it?
So we're absolutely clear. Where Cyprus has agreed its EEZ, it has the right to drill in its EEZ, and we fully support that. And as I've said, we're very clear that we're opposed to Turkey's drilling activities in the waters around Cyprus. The thing is that ultimately, to resolve this problem, we need to have a resumption of the overall Cyprus settlement process. We need to resolve the differences between Cyprus and Turkey. And when the Cyprus problem is solved, then that is the basis for real stability in the region.
Are the two issues connected, the Cyprus problem with the drilling activities of Turkey? And I'm here to say that Turkey is not recognizing the EEZ of all the island, is reducing the EEZ of all of the island against the rights of Turkish Cypriots also. But nobody's saying this.
So the whole point is that, of course, the two things are connected, and Turkey doesn't recognize the Republic of Cyprus. That's at the heart of the Cyprus problem. So in order to be able to resolve these specific issues, I believe it is also necessary to move forward and resolve the overall problem.
Okay, another one question on this chapter. You said that Britain is recognizing that where Cyprus declared EEZ has right to move forward with hydrocarbon activities. The same thing, you recognize the same thing for Turkey also, because they declared EEZ in an area where is Greek area or it's Cypriot area?
Well, we're not lawyers, you and I, and we're not in a court of law. I mean, we have been very clear that Turkey's drilling activities in the waters around Cyprus are provocative, and we're against them. I don't think we could be any clearer than that.
Okay, let's talk about Britain. We are in 2020, few months before Brexit, before UK move forward. How do you see the next day of your country?
So we're in 2020. We have already left the European Union. We are a few months before the 60th anniversary of Cypriot independence, the establishment of diplomatic relations between Britain and the Republic of Cyprus, the establishment of a partnership between Britain and Cyprus as friends and equals. And I believe that at this moment our relations are actually in a very good state of repair. I think there's a very close dialogue between our leaders, between business, between people in both countries. In particular, I was really pleased that last month we were able, after too long a delay, to announce that we were moving forward on the agreement to allow commercial and economic development in the British base areas. This is an agreement that has been very well received here in Cyprus, obviously in the communities in the bases, but in society more widely. And
how do you answer to the Turkish Cypriot concerns on this agreement?
So I think our Turkish Cypriot friends have nothing to fear from this agreement. This agreement protects the rights of all residents in the bases and all landowners in the bases. There are, of course, Turkish Cypriot landowners. Their rights are fully protected, and they have the right to contribute views in the consultation process, which is now happening.
As a consequence, Mr. Ambassador, of the Brexit issue, fees for Britain universities for foreign students are dramatically increasing. For Cypriot students, this is bringing upside down all their life for some students. Is it realistic to believe that we can have a bilateral agreement on this issue?
So, of course, understand the disappointment of students and parents at the decision on fees. I should say that Cypriots have been going to our universities for many years, including well before Cyprus joined the European Union. Cypriot students, European students, international students all remain very welcome in our universities. They've made a big contribution. I'm confident that they will continue to make a big contribution. The decision on changing the fees is a inevitable consequence of Britain leaving the European Union, of us having to treat all foreign countries equally, not to discriminate between one and others. I should say that even though we have already left the European Union, we're not implementing this change this year. So Cypriots who go this year will still study the same fees as UK students, and they will be able to do that for the duration of their course.
So you cannot see a bilateral solution for Cypriot students only?
I think it's difficult to see a bilateral solution, because any solution,
even the good ties of the two countries.
Well, of course, the ties are very important and they're very precious, and we recognise that. And I don't want to sort of preempt any discussion that the Education Minister of Cyprus may have with his counterpart in the UK. I would just say that we have to be realistic about the prospects, because an agreement obviously has to be funded, so if Cypriot students are paying less, then that raises the question of who is going to have to pay for that. Is it going to be the British government, or is it going to be the Cyprus government, or is it going to be the universities?
Okay. The tourism sector in Cyprus is based in a big percentage on British tourists. How do you see this difficult situation due to a pandemic issue? Are you optimistic that from August we will slowly recome to the previous situation of tourist arrivals and etc.?
So British tourists have been a very big part of the picture here, as you say, and they've come here, they've enjoyed their visits. I know many British citizens are hoping to come back to Cyprus. We're getting a lot of enquiries from Britons asking what has happened. The British government, for our part, we have changed our travel advisory, so we do not advise people not to come to Cyprus. You know, ultimately, it's a decision which we respect for the Cyprus government to make. If Britain is put on list B, or indeed list A, then definitely I am sure that British tourists will come back, but it will require the government of Cyprus first to put us on one of those lists, and indeed if they put us on list B, the government of Cyprus will also need to answer the question about how Britons can get a PCR test in order to enter the country.
Okay, and the last question, much more general question. Britain is living now a new era after leaving EU. What's the dream of UK for the world relations, for the next step of universal citizens?
So we've left the European Union and we are looking outwards, not inwards. Our Foreign Secretary has been very clear that Britain will be a force for good in the world, promoting free trade, helping produce solutions and answers to the big questions of our age. And of course, that includes issues like climate change, where next year we will host the international climate change negotiations in Scotland. And it includes solutions to the coronavirus pandemic. For instance, Britain is very much at the forefront of efforts to find a vaccine for the solution. The British government has been mobilising international support for that, supporting our big universities like Oxford University and Imperial College to come up with a solution. So, as I say, we want to be a force for good in the world. We will be building our relations with countries outside Europe, but we will also not in any way be turning our back on our European friends. Cyprus, as you have said, has a very close relationship with Britain. As I say, in the 60th anniversary year of independence, I think we can look forward with confidence to the future development of relations between our two countries.
Is it fair for somebody to say that UK's position over EU is that UK feels that EU is not a successful organisation, that's why they left?
Not at all, and we've always been very clear that we want the European Union to succeed. It's just that we feel that Britain's interests are best served by forging our own future, our own way as an independent sovereign country, but we do that with a strong sense of friendship and partnership towards the European Union. It's why right now we're engaged in negotiations to, we hope to have a free trade agreement between Britain and the EU and a range of other agreements in areas like law enforcement, security, scientific cooperation and so on.
Thank you very much for this interview, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you very much.